Hello and welcome. Today we're going to talk a little bit about how to properly pack a box. Now, packing is probably one of the most dreadful times when somebody is moving. You get intimidated by all the stuff you've accumulated year over year, and you have to go through stuff, which makes it a very not fun task, but an absolutely necessary task when you're moving. So today I'm going to talk a little bit just about how to make that easier, how to have a systematic approach, so that you can get packed up in time for your movers to get there and get you all located and transitioned into your new home. So the first thing I want to talk about is just setting a timeline for packing. Set a goal for yourself. Try to have one room each day leading up to the move packed up. Obviously, you're going to need to set aside some essentials to get you through until the move, and it depends how big your home is, how many days out you start. The last thing you want to avoid is the movers showing up on moving day and not everything being packed, which can add time for them. It can make things more complicated, potentially more expensive. So I want to make sure that you guys understand how to pack properly, but also a good timeline. And if you set a goal to pack one room per day, then count how many rooms you have in your house and hold yourself to that goal. If it's a big room or if it's a room with a lot of odds and ends like a kitchen that are going to require more boxes than something like just a bathroom, then maybe make it a goal for 2 days to have that room packed up. So first, as we get started here, we got some basic supplies and materials that are going to be needed for packing. We've got your standard cardboard box. We've got some packing paper, also referred to as newsprint. Now, it is referred to as newsprint. However, I do caution you against using newspaper because the ink from the newspaper can wear off on the stuff that you're packing. If you don't care about the stuff that you're packing that much, or if it's just going to be a real short-term thing, sometimes that's okay. We always use blank newsprint. It protects the items well, and it also prevents ink from wearing off. We've got a marker for labeling the box once we're done with it packed. We've, of course, got some packing tape, and then the example dishes that we're going to be packing here today. So first, we're going to go ahead and get the box ready for packing. As you can see here, we've got a pretty standard box that you might see when packing a kitchen. So what I'm going to do here is fold over these two flaps here. They're going to be kind of like the brace flaps, and then I'm going to fold over the two longer flaps here so that you'll see it like that. I'm going to take my tape. Now it's really important to tape off the bottom. Sometimes what we'll see when we go to move people is that they've just folded the corners of the box flaps over one another. That is something that I don't recommend. It's not the strongest way to do it. I recommend giving it around there, potentially double taping it. You don't run out of tape at least. So for all intents and purposes, we've got the bottom taped up. Now, when you're packing these boxes, make sure that they don't weigh more than 50 pounds. This can not only make them harder to move, but they're also harder to stack on top of one another. They can crush boxes under them if they're not being loaded properly, or if too many boxes weigh too much, and there's just no way to create a base with that many boxes. And it can also damage the integrity of the box. So items can fall through the bottom of the box when you go to pick them up. That leaves a mess. Nobody wants to deal with that. So assuming that the bottoms of your boxes are properly taped up and they're ready to go, then they shouldn't weigh more than 50 pounds. So what we're going to do next is we're going to take each of our model dishes. Actually, before we do that, it's always a good idea to pad the bottom of your box with some packing paper. This way, if your box is set down on something, maybe a little too hard, or if you have stuff underneath it or whatever, if you have glass on the bottom of it, then it's not just coming in direct contact with the solid surface that the box is going down on. So I like to put a few pieces of packing paper in my box to insulate out the bottom of it. Okay, and then once you kind of have that baseline covered down there, you can start doing the individual items. Now it's really important here to wrap each individual item that you're going to be packing. So as you're wrapping them up, something like a coffee pot, a lot of times I'm going to stuff some paper down into it to help try and reinforce the sides and the edges. So you've got that, and then I'm going to use one more for good measure down in there. you want to put your bigger dishes on the bottom. So the bigger items you have, put them on the bottom so that you're not just stacking big dishes on top of little dishes. So I'm just going to go item by item here. Cups, you can just roll them right up. Cram that down into the cup, like so. More glassware. Notice how I'm putting the items in the middle of the paper and folding it into the paper. This covers the edges, and it also covers the inside of the item. Generally, one piece of paper per item works, but if it doesn't quite cover the entire thing, it's definitely okay to use more than one piece of paper per item. I always like to be safer than sorry when I'm packing a box. This is just so that items don't have glass showing. You want to make sure that you're covering all the glass. If you've got nice books or figurines or whatever the case may be that you're packing, make sure that every area, every portion of that is completely wrapped up. So we've got everything wrapped up here, and we've actually played some Tetris in this box and fit everything fairly tightly. So as you can see, everything's in there well. Now, we don't have anything else to pack right now, and there's still some room on the top. So to prevent the top of the box from caving downward, we're gonna go ahead and just take some paper and fill in the areas that could potentially be have air to make them more airtight, to fill that gap. This is going to provide cushioning and support in case something gets stacked on top of this box inside the truck. Alright, so now once we have that all packed in so that there's no gaps in there to keep things from shifting, but also to add some support to the top of the box, we're going to go ahead and close up the top of the box the same as we closed up the bottom, like so. And the final thing before we tape off the top is going to be to label the box. So remember, when you're bringing the boxes into your new home, you're not going to remember what's in each individual box, especially blank boxes if they're not labeled. You're also not going to remember what room they came out of. So if you're looking for your George Foreman grill, or you're looking for your favorite Florida Gators, coffee mug the next morning when you're trying to drink your coffee, instead of having to go through every room of your house and every single box, write on there. So what I'm going to write on this one, it looks like all these items came from a kitchen. I'm going to write what's in the box. So coffee pot, bowl, there's a few bowls in there, so I'll write 3. I think there's about 3 cups in there, and a couple other just random dishes. So I now know what's in the box. Now I'm also going to write what room it came from, so that I know where to find it, where to put it, but also the movers know where to put it. Because remember, when they're all loaded up onto the truck, the movers may not have a photographic memory exactly which box came from which room. So it's really important that those boxes are labeled. This way you don't have to open up every single box when it comes off the truck and say it goes into the bedroom or it goes into the kitchen. They can just look at the top of the box, say, oh, it says kitchen on it, and bring it directly into the kitchen. And then that way you know which room to go to when you're looking for that Florida Gators coffee mug, and then you'll see on there Florida Gators coffee mug on the top. So I hope this video helps with some how-to on packing, at least how to get started. Remember, 1 room per day leading up to your move is a good goal to shoot for. It's gonna not be as overwhelming as you might think. Packing can go quickly. If you really dread it and want somebody to come help you, we definitely offer packing services and are happy to come do this for you. So that's all I have for today. Thanks for tuning in.